I am an artist, and the other day I came across a video about a painting app called heavypaint. I think it looked super interesting, so I wanted to try it out, and we are going to do that in today's video. And we are going to study this water. But first, let's take a look at the actual app itself. And I am opening this one on my browser on my laptop. And I think it is available on Android and Apple as well. And seems like to use this one on PC, we just need to click this one button. And yeah, here's how the UI looks. Pretty minimal, and let's digging around for some little treasure, I guess. So even before this recording session, I just spent some time looking around to avoid recording 20 minutes of engaging content just like this. And I learned some basic shortcuts like Shift for panning, Shift and Space for zooming in and out, Alt for color picking, and D for changing the size of the brushes, and also Ctrl+F for full screen. And I think that's what pretty much everything we needed to start, so let's do that. In the beginning of this session, I was mostly playing around with the brushes, and aside from the color jittering effect, which I think is something pretty signature for heavypaint. And by the way, you can adjust how much color jittering you want with the bar on the left hand side over here. Aside from that, the brush itself also behaves in a really intriguing way. Like the color in the stroke was moving in a really mesmerizing way. Almost as if it is a living being. This is not really how brushes normally work. At least not the way I am familiar with in programs like Krita. So I was a little bit surprised, maybe confused, and definitely mesmerized. I almost felt like I could sit here and watch this move all day. Wow. Anyway, I couldn't find a soft brush, the one that allows you to adjust opacity with pen pressure. And it seemed like I couldn't use my blending techniques for today's session. And yeah, so everything seemed a little bit tough. And provided that I used the free version, so maybe there are some brushes that I couldn't access, so maybe that's the case, but I don't really know. Here's another thing I'm not very familiar with. The color wheel. Well, it's not really a wheel. The color choosing device. The color choosing thingy. Whatever. Normally, what I usually use is this square plus circle one, just like this. This one in heavypaint, on the other hand, has a big rectangle where you could choose the hues and the value, a smaller rectangle where you can choose the saturation, and one more rectangle where it shows the actual color you pick. At first, I thought this wouldn't be a big deal, but it made choosing some softer or desaturated shades quite difficult. So this one did turn out to be a little bit brighter and more intense than intended. But it's okay. Everything is fine, And also, because I couldn't really use my blending technique, so I used the blending tool instead. And once again, it looked fine, but at this point, because the painting didn't really look the way I wanted, so I started to blame my brush choices for all of this mess, classic behavior. So I started to try some other brushes again, in hope of changing things for the better. And surprised, none of this was a brush for. It was just my own incompetence, but so at the end, I just came back to my first choice of brushes, the oil brush. So yeah, that was a rather big waste of time, I guess. And there's still another thing that made me confused. Yeah, there's more confusion. It's like the whole theme of this video, So everything you do in here, like panning, like zooming in or out, you can do all of them without actually touching the tablet. Let me explain things a little bit further. Normally in Krita, whenever you want to do something, let's say color picking or color sampling, you have to actually physically tap your pen on the surface of the tablet to pick the color you want. But in heavy paint, you can do that without actually touching the tablet. So when you want to pick a color here, you hover your pen over the area of the color you want, press Alt and release, and you successfully pick a color. But because you just hovering above the tablet, sometimes your arm position changes a little bit, so the color you picked was actually not the color you wanted to pick. And this one messed with me so much. And also, I apologize if this explanation is way too confusing. I am really sorry if I couldn't give you something easier to understand. Just know that a lot of the time I accidentally pick a color that I didn't intend to pick, and it was so confusing for my brain. Okay, let's talk about something else less confusing. So in this video, I also tried out one more new thing other than heavy paint. It is pureref, like a recommendation I got from a lot of people under my free art resources video, and I decided to give it a try here because I don't think heavy paint has reference to like in Krita. Like the reference that floating under the clock there is pureref. Personally, I really enjoyed this program. Like it looks clean, minimal, and non-intrusive, and especially with a transparent background like the one that I used up there. And it is exceptionally good for people who only have one monitor like me, and also for programs that don't have built-in preference tool like the one in Krita as I just said. So if any of these sounds like your case, please give pureref a try. I think you will like it. And also it's technically free. That's something very important, but I forgot to mention that. So yeah, please give it a try. Let's come back to heavy paint and also the study. So actually, I really enjoy how this study turned out. Even though, the path to get here confused the hell out of me, but the result was looking pretty okay, and it is something really promising. Because, despite the fact that I was question mark my way through the whole process, the result still managed to look this okay. So imagine how it would look if I was not confused. Must be pretty good, I guess, and also I hope. Anyway, the thing I love the most about this one is unsurprisingly the brush, like the texture of the brush, and also the color jittering part makes everything look really fun and magical. It reminds me of oil pastel, like you can almost feel the thick texture of the pastel on there, and I adore that kind of look. So I will definitely come back for this program in the future. And with that, let's check out the result, shall we? So as I mentioned, this program has a free and a paid version. And from what I saw, we mostly just couldn't access some brushes in the free version. And I think this one has a lot of room to play around and experiment with, even as a free program. So if you like anything you saw in this video, please go give heavy paint a try. And I think that's the video. As always, thanks for watching and hope you have a good day/night ahead, and see you later.